Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television is sponsored by Nutrien. Nutrien, feeding the future.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Perspective. This is a public affairs presentation of Florida Gateway College. My name is Mike McKee. My guests on the program represent the Greater Lake City Community Development Agency corporation. We have Lester McCallum, who is the executive director, Betty Powell, who is the director of fundraising for the organization, and we have Alonzo Galloway, who is a member of the board of directors of the Greater Lake City CDC. We're going to talk to them about what exactly they do and how they help people get into home ownership, as well as a fundraiser that's taking place at the end of February. We'll do that when we come back. Don't go away.
$150 over $90.
$180 over $111.
$160 over $110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Welcome back to Perspective here on Florida Gateway College Television. My guests on the program today represent the Greater Lake City Community Development Corporation here in Lake City. Lester McCallum has been there since the beginning. Welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you so much for having us, Mike.
Now, you know, for a lot of people who heard the name before, don't know exactly what you do, let's explain to the people what the Greater CDC does for people in Columbia County.
Well, we are a community-based nonprofit organization. We provide services for people that want to become homeowners. Our mission is to provide affordable housing. We also do computer training, basic computer training for our senior citizens, and we do that free for them, just to help them to come up to speed, because we know that they need those services. We do financial literacy training for young people that want to become homeowners. And we also have the Young Women's of Excellence program that we partner with the Columbia County School Board to provide that training for young ladies in school from the 9th through the 12th grade.
Well, let's talk about home ownership. Alonzo, maybe you could answer this. It's not, everybody should be able to own a home, but there are some obstacles that people have that don't allow them. What are some obstacles that people face in buying a home or building a home?
Yes, Mike. One of the obstacles in home ownership is it's just like a road, a path that you would take. One of the main thing is credit. We encourage our applicant to improve their credit score, and being that their credit score plays a very, very important part. Let's take, for example, we try to bring them in at a certain level for their credit. We advise them to attend a financial literacy class, and that financial literacy class kind of reinforce what they have to do to increase their credit score, make them aware of their buying habits, opening new credit, something like that. You know, we try to keep them on focus and on task with their credit. So Lester, is it when you're talking to someone and they have to get a loan?
Yes.
Obviously, it's one of the biggest purchases that a person or family is going to make in their lifetime. So
Exactly.
A loan is part of that process. So they go to the bank, and the bank says, "Well, what's your credit score?"
Yeah.
What's a good score? What's a bad score?
Usually, we had First Federal Finance was working with us several years ago with a 620 credit score. Everybody that went through our program, our financial literacy training, home buyer education training, all those people that went through that, they learned a certain amount of responsibility concerning home ownership. Like you say, it's one of the biggest investment that you'll ever make in your life. So once we take them through our program, they would accept them at a 620 several years ago, but now it's back up to a 640. Most of the banks require that applicant have a 640 credit score.
Well, okay, so say you've got a 590 score. Does that take you out of the picture? You can't get a loan, or how does that work?
It actually,
and what do they say? Do they say, gee, you really need to work on this? Now's not the time?
yes, we have to go back and kind of like reestablish some new credit. When you have a less than a 640 credit score, you have to do things like find items or small items, maybe a piece of furniture, maybe from Badcock's or some of the local companies here that do credit reporting to the agency. Once they get some more credit established and pay on the items they purchased in a timely fashion, they report every month, and that will help you increase your credit score. If you pay on time or before time, it will help you increase your credit score. If you got a 590, you have an opportunity then to raise it up in that fashion. Some people want to buy big ticket items, but if you are looking to purchase a home, don't buy anything that's like a car, a boat, anything like that, because that will eliminate or occupy some of your income, so that instead of you having enough money to pay on that mortgage, then you've already obligated to another big ticket item. So, to buy small things, pay your bills on time, even your light bill, your rent, and things of that nature need to be paid on time for you to increase your credit score.
Okay, so how do you get in trouble? I mean, it's not like are you born with a credit score? I mean, or is it a body of work that you've done? How do you get in trouble? I think.
Well, a lot of people, especially young people, are into obligations while they're young. They make purchases without having the appropriate training or education, and they don't meet the obligations. Maybe they rented a TV or something like that. Maybe they bought a car and let it go back, and these kind of things deteriorate your credit. And you have to maintain a good credit score nowadays, and even to get a good job, your credit score needs to be appropriate to get a job. So we try to encourage them to not to enter into any obligation that you're not going to be able to maintain.
So I don't want to call anybody out, but are there salespeople that will prey on someone not knowing whether they can handle? I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, his son went to a dealership, and he rented or leased a vehicle, and the lease payments were more than what if he were to outright buy the vehicle, and he had to get out of it.
Right.
Is that the type of thing we're talking about, that you really should have some advice or have someone older with you when you make decisions that are going to obligate you for a lot of money for maybe a long period of time?
Yes, you should. Like I said, when we don't get financial education in school. I did when I went to school. There was nothing they told me about how to handle my money, about responsibility. And I think most people in the sales industry are trying to, if they're a car salesman, they're trying to sell a car. So if you got enough money for the down payment, he get his sales commission, he's not really worried about your long-term obligation. And that's what buying a vehicle is. It's a long-term obligation financially. Revolving credit debt that you must maintain. If you don't, if you have a default on it, then that negatively affects your credit.
So Betty, maybe you can shed some light. Is there such a thing as not being in such a hurry? Do you see that maybe young people got to have it now, got to have, whether instead of being patient?
Yes, I do see that, and I know the young people. I can talk about some people that I know personally. When the young people start out, they want to have it all right now. It's like the microwave generation. We want it fast. I mean, the things that the younger people want that has taken their family maybe 10 years to get, they want it in 6 months. So they don't always think it through to realize how I'm going to pay for it. Do I have enough money to pay for it? They don't always realize to count the cost. So am I get this, am I going to be able to afford it in the long run? Do I have the income to do it? And I find a lot of the people that Lester and Alonzo are talking about are the people who didn't have the financial courses to understand how to handle money and the benefits of not biting off more than you can chew, is what my parents would say, but to purchase things that you can't afford because we want it right now. We don't want to wait. We don't want to have to save and work. We want it now. And that gets us in a lot of trouble.
Alonzo, we mentioned that there's really no class for finances unless you go to an accounting class in college, but high school doesn't really prepare you for that. Would you suggest that anyone, not necessarily being helped by you, but anyone buying a home or thinking about buying a home should take your classes first before even considering going to visit a financial institution?
Yes, I concur with Lester and Betty. One of the things you have to be aware of with the young generation is the fact that delayed gratification, and I stress that all the time, it's not going to happen right away. You have to have the knowledge to instill that delayed gratification. In other words, you have to set a goal. And if you set that goal, you can achieve that goal. And you know, I was explaining one day that it's just like taking an eyedropper, filling up a 55-gallon drum, drop by drop. Eventually, you will fill it up. So that's why I'm a strong advocate of a person instilling in themselves the delayed gratification.
Lester, about savings, how important, because I think the latest statistic I saw that maybe 80% of Americans don't have any kind of savings whatsoever, or the number was really, really high. And you know, my generation, we were always taught to put away something out of your paycheck to where you would never miss it. How important is having a savings account or having the wherewithal to do away with maybe a soda pop a day or whatever whatever your thing is to put into a savings account?
It's very important. We always tell our applicants to get a culture of saving. Let's make it a habit of saving. You might say, well, I can't save any money because I'm making minimum wages, but it's going to be important. It's going to be necessary for you. If you're going to become a homeowner, there's going to be unforeseen expenses that you're going to have to deal with being a homeowner. And if you don't have money in your savings account, it's going to be impossible for you to maintain not only your mortgage payment, your insurance on your property, but there are other things that you must be capable of taking care of financially, because there is no landlord to come and fix your toilet when it tears up or whatever. So you have to have the revenue to do that and also make your mortgage payment. So we really do stress that savings. You know, and there's always a way to save. Well, you might not know it, but in our financial literacy training, we always sit down and go over a budget, have the applicant prepare a budget, and we work with them to prepare one. We want to know what your spending habit is. We let you write down what it is that you spend. Every time that you spend money, we want you to log it on a sheet of paper or in a log book so that we can sit down together at the end of the month and go over it and see where we can find where you're spending money needlessly. Now,
so how many people who come to see you don't have a budget? And again, anybody can spend you get paid, you spend. Get
Right.
paid, you spend. How many people are like that? You say majority of people don't really budget themselves?
I would certainly say that the majority of them, most of them don't have a saving habit. If most people spend until it's all gone, then they want to borrow money to the next paycheck, and you're already in the hole when the next paycheck comes. So we try to teach them to abstain from things, to try to do without something. Sacrifice is a word that a lot of people don't like. Everybody want it and they want it now. But it's also good to not to buy 3 soda pops a day. If you're smoking cigarettes, consider quitting. That'd be a big way to save some money, that you can implement in your life and your habits in order for you to create wealth, which you're going to need if you're actually thinking about it and you're serious about becoming a homeowner.
Alonzo, again, as a board of the head of the chair of the board, are you seeing people that are serious? I mean, are you seeing people that say, well, let me just see what they're going to do, and I'm not going to be that serious? You see more serious people that say, I want this, and I'm willing to do what it takes.
Well, there's 2 types of the wants and the needs, and I'll add an extra one, the essential. For example, that home ownership is something that should be instilled in you, because one of the things that you want to have is shelter. And home ownership is one of those things that eventually you would say, well, rather than paying rent all the time, I think I want to own something. And when you sign a mortgage, when you sign on to a mortgage, it is a long-term obligation. And once you achieve that obligation of paying for a home, it is a great achievement, because when you own a home, you have that's your equity access into the ownership, and that kind of encourages a person to say, well, I probably can go ahead and get another home, and I can rent my starter home, and it's just like a stepping stone. Home ownership is one of those things that you want to instill into everybody, to own it.
Well, and again, Lester, it's almost like it's a savings account.
It is.
And I make the argument to some young people, when you rent, you're paying somebody else's mortgage.
That's right.
When you own, you're putting equity into your own, which could be a savings account. Because
it is.
Tell us about property ownership and appreciation. Many times, the property that you own is going to appreciate instead of depreciate.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it's an investment. Home ownership is an investment in the future. A young couple or a young single individual enter into obligation to purchase a home. You got a 30-year mortgage. As you pay on it, we also know that the interest eat up the first few years of your ownership, but if you keep paying on that house, you build up equity and you build up ownership. Maybe 15, 17, 18 years down the line, you have accumulated enough interest, enough equity in your house that you can send your kid to college.
You can take an equity line of credit.
Yes, you can go to the bank, just like a savings account almost, But in reverse, if you're renting, you have accumulated no ownership, no value in your residency. So, as we have always stressed, that it's a good thing to enter to obligation for home ownership.
Let me ask you, last time, or maybe it was a time before, you had someone from a bank here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You had a builder. I think you had Mr. Whidden.
Yes.
That came on.
At one point.
Now,
yeah.
do you help people finance existing homes, or do you finance potential new home construction? Mm-hmm. Talk about the differences of what you do with home ownership and those two separate things.
Well, we basically want to encourage them to build a new home, because you're eliminating a lot of the problems of a pre-existing home. Sometimes you can recognize problems with a pre-existing home, and you can avoid entering into an agreement to purchase that particular one. But with a new home, you get your warranty. You got a 30-year mortgage. That house is going to be good for the warranty on it from the builder. So because it's new, you don't have to worry about replacing your hot water heater, things of this nature,
Or
or having
your
the
roof or things
is
like
another big expense. You don't have to worry about doing that. We do also help. We do help if you want a pre-existing home. Maybe you don't have enough money to build brand new. So if you find a home of good value that you want to invest in, a pre-existing home, then we also help you with that as well. It also determines, it's dependent upon what the bank want to do. They have the money. So if they say, well, we'll finance this house for you, then it might be a good thing for you to do. If they say it's good, then it's a good investment for you to invest in. So if your credit from the bank was less than what it would cost to get a new home built, then you have no other options but to buy a pre-existing home.
You talk about down payment. You're not just going to say you're going to get a loan and you're just going to pay the bank back. The bank is going to want you to put some skin in the game.
Yes.
Talk about what a good down payment is, and the higher the down payment, the better the terms, correct?
They are. The lower your payments would be for a larger down payment. 10% if you're buying 10 or 15% upfront down payment on that home, it's a good down payment, and that'll help you with also help you with your monthly mortgage payments. It's not good to enter into that with nothing down, because the bank usually won't finance you if you don't have any skin in the game, and that's the money out your own pocket. They want you to have something invested or something to lose when you enter into that agreement, because that make you more conscious of what you're doing and your obligation to pay that mortgage. So
now, do you have where you can go in and do, if I put this much down, if I get this interest rate, this is what my payment is going to be, before you go to the bank? I think there may be a lot of people that don't want the bank to know what they can afford and what they can't afford. Do you provide maybe a little bit of help with that so that people know what they're talking about?
Well, usually the bank themselves will let you know. They'll be involved in that. You can't hide anything from them. Everything will be on the table when you walk in the door, so they know what you're making. They know what your income is. They know how much money you have to put towards the purchase of that home. So they'll be the one actually leading this whole thing. The loan officer will be the one that's telling you and instructing you about the transaction that's about to take place. So, and that's a good thing, because you don't get yourself involved in something that you can't meet the obligation. So,
is there a bank in town that does partner with the CDC?
Well, it's at one point, and we still do use First Federal Finance. They've been really good working with us and our clients that we bring to them. Like I say, we enter into agreement to have that education and training for them, the financial literacy, to make them aware of the obligation, of the responsibility they're about to enter into. We don't want them to go out and borrow the money that they can't pay back, because we are also involved in the transaction with the bank, because our name is on the line as well. This is the client that we brought to you, and we telling you that these people are educated, they are aware of the responsibility they're about to enter into, and we want you to continue to do business with us. So we want these people to make these mortgage payments on time.
Okay, so now this is the part of the program where we talk to Betty Powell. You've kind of ignored her a little bit here, but you're the fundraising person for the greater CDC, Lake City CDC. Let's talk about the largest fundraiser that's coming up here in February that you were kind of spearheading.
Yes, I am the fundraiser for the Greater Lake City CDC, and I get excited about the fundraising part of it, because I get to meet people and talk to people about the banquet that's coming up February the 24th at 6 o'clock at the Fairgrounds Exhibition Hall. And that's exciting, because we get to go out and talk to the business people in Lake City, and we get to talk to the school teachers and everybody about what we're doing, because out of all the programs that the CDC offer all through the year, we need to have money coming in to help fund these programs that we do, because before I answer that question, I think I want to just say one thing about the Greater Lake City CDC. I think I came on board especially because it is an organization that strives to help people become not only homeowners, but to get their GED, to finish high school, and to help the children in the community, which is Cedar Park, whether we're right there. We help them with the homework, and we do things to help those kids. And I think I wanted to be a part of something that was to help other people that was less fortunate, I would say. So when it comes to the banquet time, being the fundraiser coordinator, I get excited because I get to talk to people, and I get pushing to sell the tickets for the banquet. And then I want people to know the reason that we are having this banquet, and because it's a fundraiser banquet, and I try to encourage the board members and us to let's just get out and have fun and sell these tickets and talk to people about what we do and get excited about that.
You actually see the end result of what you've done from getting, I mean, how cool is it to be able to tell somebody, you know, your credit score now qualifies you to have a loan, to have your own home. That's got to be kind of a neat thing to...
Yeah, it is. It's rewarding. Everything that we do in this nonprofit is rewarding. To help somebody to realize the process. Most people come in and say, well, I want a home. But I say, this is a process. It's not going to be an overnight thing. So you have to work diligently towards improving your credit and proving your chances of getting a mortgage from a bank. So it's a rewarding thing, and it takes time. It's not just, you can't just walk in and have it done unless you really do have good credit up front.
And so there are some costs involved in doing the training. They've got certain expenses that they have to pay. Anyway, the Greater Lake City Community Development Corporation Incorporated Red Carpet Night of Elegance. It's on the 24th of February at the fairgrounds. It's the 13th annual Black Tie Affair. If you would like more information on this, you can phone them at 752-9785, or you can email the office, and as you can see on the screen, the address right there is where you will email Lester or anybody at the Greater Lake City CDC. We'll wish you the best of luck. And again, if somebody wanted, outside of this black tie event, if somebody wanted to make a donation, they can go and email you as well.
Yes.
Away from, if they just wanted to say, I like what you're doing, I want to give you a check,
yes,
they can do that as well.
Yes, you can call us and get the information. You can send it to our address. You can call us on the phone. We'll give you the information that you need to get the donation to us.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the program, and what you're doing is really, really something special for this community. And again, home ownership is everybody's dream.
That's key.
And if you can keep that going and keep people educated on how to get their credit score to where it needs to be in order to own a home,
right?
That's half the battle in what you're doing. And thank you for watching Perspective here on Florida Gateway College Television. Until next time, I'm Mike McKee. We'll see you.